Hello, this is Mr. G again. Welcome to my class. The lesson for this topic or for this week is multiple of 10. Hey buddy, how is it going? Okay, I hope you enjoy my emoji right here. Let's go to the next page. What is a multiple of 10? Before we work on multiple of 10, it's very important for each one of you to remember your times tables. Knowing your times table will help you somehow to understand what is a multiple of 10, and remembering also that any number multiplied by 10 is that number plus a 0. We have the times tables on this small chart right here when it says that 1 all the way to 12 multiplied by 10. So you can see here the products 10, 20, 30, etc. are multiple of 10. 2 times 10 is 20, and you can see here 20 is the product of multiplying 2 times 10. 20 is a multiple of 10 because it's the result or the product of multiplying 2 by 10. But what is a multiple of 10? Multiple of 10 is the product of multiplying any number by 10, or is the product of any number multiplied by 10. How to multiply by multiple of 10 is a question. We have an example here, 3 times 30. 3 is a one-digit number multiplied by 30. 30 is a multiple of 10. How do you get 30? We get 30 by multiplying 10 times 3. So 10 times 3 is equal to 30. But now we are not going to multiply 10 times 3. We are going to multiply 3 times 30. There are easy ways how to do that. Or we call them steps. The step 1 says multiply 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is equal to 9. And you can see it here. And the second step is to add 0 of the product of multiplying 3 times 3. So the product of multiplying 3 times 3 is 9. So then we just have to add. We just have to add the 0 to it, and that'll make it 90. That's the easy way how to multiply by 10 or by any number that has 10 on it or any multiple of 10. Here we have some examples how to find multiple of 10. This is an easy way to do that. This is the numbers with multiple of 10 multiplied by one digit number. You can see them here. And any of these numbers, when you add 0 to them, they become a multiple of 10. You can see 40, 20, 30, 50 here as multiple of 10. And on this side, you can see that the 0 has been taken away. And the number that were one digits here, they also have become multiple of 10. Because this number multiplied by 10 is going to be become a multiple of 10. If we multiply 3 times 10, makes 30. 7 multiplied by 10 makes 70. 2 multiplied by 10 makes it 20, and 4 multiplied by 10 makes it 40. And the same way here, if you multiply 4 times 10 makes it 40. 2 times 10 make it 20. 3 times 10 make it 30, and 5 times 10 make it 50. But the point here is for you to understand how to get the product of one digit number multiplied by 10. As I said before, we have to know our times tables. We have number 1, 4 times 3. 4 times 3. I have here repeat addition. 1 times 3, 2 times 3, 3 times 3, and 4 times 3. If you add these numbers together, it's going to give you the product of multiplying 4 times 3. If you add 3 times 3, 3 plus 3 is equal to 6. And plus 3 more makes it 9. And 9 plus 3 more will make it 12. So 4 times 3 is equal to 12. But now what happens when you are adding a 0 to 4 to become a multiple of 10 and you multiply that number by 3? It is the same principle. Remember the step 1, you multiply this digit by this one will be 4 times 3, we make it 12. Then now we are going to add 0 to 12, and that becomes 120. And the same process will happen with 2 times 7. 2 times 7, 1 times 7, 2 times 7. And if you add 7 plus 7, it's equal to 14. So 2 times 7 is 14. Same process. 2 here is being adding a 0 to it to become a multiple of 10. So we multiply 2 times 7 is 14. Now what's next? Just add 0 to it. Then that becomes 140. Our next activity is to do exercise 3. Exercise 3 says 3 times 2. 3 times 2. 1 times 2. 2 times 2. And 3 times 2. If you add this number together, is going to be equal to 6. So 3 times 2 is equal to 6. Now 3 is being added a 0 to it to become 30. You know, how is that possible? If you multiply 3 times 10 is going to be equal to 30. So we do the same. You multiply 3 times 2 first. You multiply this number by this number is going to be 6. Then just add 0 to it as in the strategy we are trying to do or to teach through this lesson this week. We have to multiply the first two digits and then we just add 0 to them. Here, 5 times 4. 5 times 4. We are going to count 5 times 4 to get the product. 1 times 4, 2 times 4, 3 times 4, 4 times 4, and 5 times 4. Now we are going to group them to find our answer. 4 plus 4. After we group them, we add 4 plus 4, 8. 4 plus 4, 8. And we still have a 4 here. Now we keep grouping. 8 plus 8, 16. Now 16 plus 4 is going to be 20. So if you know your 4 or 5 times table, that would be easy for you to recall this fact. But if you don't know them, you can use repeated addition to find out what is 5 times 4 or 5 times 4 or 4 times 5. That will be equal to 20. Now 50 has become a multiple of 10 by adding a 0 to it or multiplying it by 10. 5 times 10, 50. Now 50 times 4. We know that 5 times 4 is equal to 20. Now what's next? Just add the next 0 because the 0 is not being multiplied by any other number. So we just add it to this one. Now let's switch here. These numbers on this side, these numbers are here, become a multiple of 10. So how do you get 30? You multiply 3 times 10 is equal to 30. So, but we know that 4 times 3 is the same as 3 times 4. That's equal to 12. So just add 0 to that. 2 times 7 is 14. And then just add 0 to that. 3 times 2, we know that is 6 because we have done that previously. And just add 0 to it. 5 times 4 is 20. We know that previously. And then we have 20 here and then add 0 to it and that'll make it 200. Those are easy ways how you can find the multiples of 10. Next activity. Here we are using the times tables. Which times tables are we talking about? We are talking about the 2, 3, 4, 5 times tables by multiple of them. These numbers are multiples of 10. You'll be wondering why are there why we call them multiple of 10, because these numbers are the product of multiplying 1 by 10, 2 by 10, 3 by 10, 4 by 10, 5 by 10, and this is the product of doing that. Some of the exercises are being done for you and some of them are not. So our job here is to do 2 or 3 of them, and the rest of them you can use them to practice. 2 times 10 is 20. 2 times 20 is 40. 2 times 30 is what? We multiply 2 by 3. 2 times 3 is equal to 6. Strategy, we add 0 and that makes it 60. 2 times 4 is 8. You add the 0 to it, that makes it 80. Now 2 times 5 is equal to 10. And add 0 to it, that makes it 100. 2 times 6 is 120. And you add the 0 and becomes 120. 2 times 7 is 14. You add a 0, 140. 2 times 8 is equal to 16. And you add a 0 to it, that makes it 160. 2 times 9 is 18. And you add 0 to it, it makes it 180. 2 times 10 is equal to 20. And you add a 0 to it, it makes it 200. Now let's do 3 times tables. 3 times 1 is 3. You add 0, makes it 30. 3 times 2 is 6, plus you add a 0 to it, makes it 60. 3 times 3 is equal to 9. And you add a 0, makes it 90. 3 times 4 is equal to 12. And you add a 0, makes it 120. Remember, you have to practice your times tables. If for one reason or another you're struggling to memorize or remember your times table, please take your time to review your times tables daily. So doing that daily or reviewing your times table daily, there will be a moment that you will be able to recall all of them with no struggle. 3 times 5 is equal to 15. And you add a 0, makes it 150. 3 times 6 makes it 18. And 18, you add 0, makes it 180. 3 times 7, 21. And you add a 0, makes it 210. 3 times 8 is 24. And you add a 0, it makes it 240. 3 times 9 is 27. And adding the 0 is 270. 3 times 10 is equal to 30. And you add a 0 to it is equal to that. Remember, any number multiplied by 0 is equal to what? 0. So if you do here 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 0, 0. It's the same. Okay, it's the same adding the 0 to it, or it's the same if you multiply by that. Remember that any number multiplied by 0 is equal to 0. So we have done so far 2, 3 times tables, but the following exercises you can take your time to do them by yourself. Now let's go to our next slide if we have one. Okay, so we're going to stop here, and then when we come back we'll be doing the independent activity. This is how a word problem will look like when you take a test multiplying by a multiple of 10. Let's read the problem, then try to find out what is being asked and what we have to do. Jacob has 8 boxes with 60 marbles in each box. How many marbles does Jacob have in the 8 boxes? It says Jacob has 8 boxes. I'm very visual, then I will try to draw 8 boxes. Okay, we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 boxes. I have here 8 boxes. 60 marbles in each box. So this box. Next word problem. A farmer planted 5 different types of tomatoes. He planted 40 of each type. How many tomatoes did the farmer plant? 5 different types of tomatoes. I'm very visual. I'm expecting you to be, but for me, the easy way to solve this, I'm gonna do 5 different types of tomatoes. I'm gonna represent them by circles. type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, and type 5. He said he planted 40 of each type. He says 40 in this, 40 in this one, 40 here, 40 here, and also 40 in this one. Now we have the tens, the multiple of 10. The multiple of 10 number here is 40. So we're going to multiply 5 by 40. We're going to be using the same strategy as repeated addition to find out what is the product of multiplying 5 times 40. We are going to add 40 plus 40 is equal to 80. Then this 80, we're going to add 40 more to it. If you add 80 plus 40, that's equal to 120. This 120, you're going to add 40 more to it. 120 plus 40, that's equal to 160. 160, you're going to add 40 more to it. And 150 plus 40 is equal to 200. So then, let's go back to our question. How many tomatoes did the farmer plant? So he planted 200 tomatoes. Well, it's time to do the work by yourself. In order to be successful and answer this problem correctly, you have to remember your times tables, the rules and the strategies we have reviewed and practiced to multiply a one-digit number by a multiple of 10. Remember, a multiple of 10 is any number that has a 0 at the end of it, and it's any number that you multiply by 10. And also, on the next slide, you'll be also having the opportunity to solve this problem. Read that as many times as possible until you really understand why you're being asked, and you can provide a correct answer to this exercise. To be successful in this lesson, is very important for you to practice and review your times tables daily. If you're having difficulties to remember to recall them in a very fluent way, the easiest way to get to know them or get to memorize them is by daily practice. That practice doesn't have to be for hours. No, you can take 15 to 20 minutes daily to review your times tables. Review those that are harder for you to recall, but those that are easy also sometimes take your time to go over them so you can have those times table facts fresh. To be successful in this lesson, you have to know your times tables. Practice them daily, daily, and at the end of the school year, you will be successful knowing your times table before your next grade level, before you go to your next grade level. Thank you.